For this next unit, equations with like terms, really at this point, nothing is new as long as you've done the work up until this point. All we're doing is combining a few things we already learned. So the steps to solve these problems are, first of all, we have to combine the like terms, which if you remember, we did a few lessons ago. Then we have to keep the best friend until the very end and use inverse operation to solve. None of that's new, it's just combining stuff we already learned. So let's do the first step. Remember, always draw that line down through that equal sign to show the two separate sides. So the first thing is if we're solving for a variable, well, wait a second, I have the m in two different spots. I can't have that. But I do know these are like terms, so I'm allowed to put them together. So my first step, I'm just going to join these together. If I have 3 m's and I'm adding 2 more, that really just means I have 5 m's. But then I still have this minus 8, and I still have the equal sign, and I still have the 7. So all I did first was combine those like terms. Well, now, this is exactly what the last unit was. So this should be a breeze once you get to this step. The 5 and the m are touching, so remember those are best friends. And we keep the best friend, so we've got to get rid of the other one. The other one in this problem is the minus 8. And remember, going back to inverse, to get rid of a minus 8, we have to add 8. And what we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other. So negative 8 plus 8, different sign, subtract gets us 0. And we still have 5m on the left side. On the line is where we put our equal sign. And 7 plus 8, we have 15. But now 5 is touching that m. And remember, touching means multiply. So to get rid of multiply, I have to divide. And the number that's touching the m is the 5, so that's what I have to divide by. But if I do that to the left side, I have to do the same exact thing to the right side. So those 5's cancel out, and I get my 1m. And 15 divided by 5 is just 3. So really, all we're adding is combining those like terms, which we've already done. And then it becomes a two-step equation, which we've also already done. And then we get our solution. So let's look at this one. Now we're combining positive and negative integers, combining like terms, inverse operation, basically every lesson we've done up until this point. So remember, we draw our line down through that equal sign, and we have to put the x's together. In this problem, this x is a negative 8x, but this x is a positive 6x. So now that goes back to our integer rules. Different sign, subtract. 8x minus 6x is 2x. But remember, we have to keep the sign of the larger one. 8 is larger than 6, which means I have to bring down that negative. But then I still have that plus 4, and over here I still have the equals and the 22. Now, this is exactly the same as we've already been doing. It's a two-step equation. So we're going to keep our best friend together and get rid of the other one. To get rid of a plus 4, we just have to minus 4. 4 minus 4 is 0, so I still have this 2x. Ah, wait a second, it's not a 2x, remember it's a negative 2x. And over here, 22 minus 4 is just 18. So for our final step, remember if they're touching, it's not x minus 2, the minus 2 is touching the x, which means we're multiplying. To get rid of multiply, we have to divide by that 2. But wait, not just the 2, what else do we have to get rid of? That's right, we have to get rid of that negative. So the negatives can cross out and the 2's can cross out. So we get that 1x by itself. And 18 divided by negative 2 is negative 9. So remember, don't freak yourself out when you see these big problems. Just use all the steps steps we've already done up until this point. Combine those like terms, and then just solve the two-step equation like we've already been doing.